2, 1. Cold Bill. I ain't even want to say lemonade. That's what I was about to say. Lemonade. With the day lemonade night, y'all. And I was about to say that, but I had to catch myself. The best thing, baby. I like how you sound. You was about to say it. Lemonade. Yo, me, Meta Dunn. Miss So Ambitious. We got a special guest in the building. Tell me your name and where you from. I'm Sandra Hatton. I'm from Anderson, South Carolina. Anderson, South Carolina. Mm-hmm. So, what got you into preaching? Oh, wow. I never intended to preach. I went to prison in 1989, and God introduced Himself to me in there. He would speak to me, and I didn't know the Bible, so I didn't know it was Him. And then one night I went to this Kairos thing they had in prison, and the woman was preaching. She said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all His righteousness." And I said, "That's what I've been hearing." And so then I realized it was God talking to me, and I got saved. I secretly got saved, and I said, "Well, if you're really real, then you give me confirmation that I'm saved." So I used to walk 2 miles on the compound. This girl, she would be walking, and I just thought she was just strange. I didn't know. She stopped, and she looked at me, and I was like, "Okay, now I'm in prison now. You okay?" And I looked, and she put her hand on her hip, and she said, "Well, praise the Lord, child, you saved." And I just started crying. I said, "So, God, you real? This is real?" And then He let me know that, yeah, that it was real. And then I started my journey, but I really didn't. When I came back home to an unsaved and unchurched family, I kind of fell to the wayside. But then in '97, I came back. Well, before then, but in '99, well, I was evangelizing and having all night prayer and feeding the homeless and doing all these things and grabbing little drug boys off the street, taking them down to church. I was just have Bible study with them over there on the east side. Then in 99, 98 or 99, I was ordained as a prophet by Keith and Bonnie Johnson from Tampa, Florida, through Pastor Sammy Clint. So later on, then I got he slammed me in the floor, and I was out, and he told me about tabernacle, and told me I would pastor the church, told me what it meant, the colors of the church, and started showing me the vision of it. And I said, "I can't do that." And he said, "No, you can't. I'm gonna do it through you." And then he told me what I would be doing, and then I ran for some years because I still didn't want to pastor no church, and then I finally went on and started doing it. I liked operating as a prophet, but I really just didn't want to pastor a church. But I pastored 3 churches since then, and I'm at Tabernacle now, and we're in the mall. But yeah, that's how some of it came about. So, go ahead. How you feel being a woman preacher? A lot of people speak against that, like saying women ain't supposed to preach at the church. How you feel about that? I think it's comical, because the word tell you that people perish for lack of knowledge, and Mary carried the word first. She carried Jesus. She carried the Holy Spirit. But even in that, in the Bible, they say Deborah ran a country better than a man. And, all these things in the Bible show us. And another thing is God don't really deal with gender. If you look in the Bible, He called everybody man. So to say female can't do something in God is it don't make sense.
Do you feel like it's harder for women pastors than it is for male?
I think it really used to be really hard for them, But even even if it would be hard for me, it wouldn't be hard.
Right.
Because I'm an out of the box person. And I didn't come from church. I came from the streets.
Right.
So I know real and I know what ain't.
So you can actually communicate with people better. You can understand better. People walk. Their stories and their walking faith. Yes, because you was on the other side of the fence before you converted over.
Right. And when I was at this, I preached this funeral a little while back. Priscilla and this young lady, and which is one of my best friend's granddaughter, and the Lord said, "Tell me your testimony." And right down the street from the funeral was when I stayed on Fant Street when I was 14 years old, going on 15. I moved in my first house, and so at the time I was abandoned. At the time I didn't have any. My mom stayed up the street, but I still was abandoned, and not because she was just a bad mother. She was going through so much at the time. Her and daddy had divorced, and I think she just was going through something. She just couldn't do it right then, but when I looked out at the young men and women sitting at the funeral, and I was just like, I said, God, look at this, and I said, why do this grieve me? So I told him, I said, I'm tired of preaching funerals. I want to get them before the funeral started, before the funeral, and before I went into the mall. I'd be in every drug area, every drug. I'm with all the drug dealers. I'm everywhere because that's what God did. He didn't sit in the church. He was amongst the people, and I allow people to be who they are.
People don't understand when people say that right there. What you just said, he was amongst the people. Like he was around drunks.
That's right. That's right. And that's because the church is already saved. But he said the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. That means there's no one to go out. And so I'm an out person. I'm one of them people that I like to be out and amongst the young men and all the people out here in the streets, and I like being amongst them because there's not too many sides, and there's not too many walks I haven't experienced, from hustling to being on drugs to being violent. I've been through a lot of things, and I've experienced a lot of things, and I have compassion for them because you have more sympathy for somebody when you done been where they've been at. Right. So when I was sitting there, and when I left the funeral, most of them was really crying. And when I left the funeral, when they was there, one of them said, what, the dry eye in that place? And I was like, and I said, Lord, what is it about this situation? Because it's grieving me. He said, because you are them. The enemy had you tricked. That had low self-esteem. You was thrown away because you was abandoned. You felt nobody wanted you. Because you was in the hood, that you didn't, that your life wasn't significant. It wasn't nothing about you. And the enemy had you fooled just like he got them fooled, because they don't know their capacity on the inside. They keep seeing themselves out of the eyes of their surroundings and their situations because they don't know yet who they are. And when a person don't know who they are, they abuse their life. Right. And so I was like, okay, God, and it just really touched my heart, because if the church, and I'm kingdom. I don't say I'm a Christian. I don't put down that, but I'm saying God never taught anything but the kingdom. Right. He say, for the kingdom is at hand. Repent. Repent means to change your mindset. Right. And so I teach kingdom, because a person can never walk in their purpose if they don't know their identity. So and before they can change, they mindset gotta change. And so you can be in jail but still be yet locked up. And you can be locked up and be free because of your mindset. And so that is one of my passions, because I live by sowing and reaping, because I live by the kingdom's principle. So every day I find somebody I can sow something in, or bless somebody, or do something, because that's what God did. He did one random act of kindness at a time. He met a need. Everywhere God showed up, people would follow and just come because of his presence, and because he always met a need. And you know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of times people, well, come to my church, come do something. And when I go out, I don't tell people, well, come to the church. No, some people would never step foot in the church, but we have to take it to them because everybody not gonna come.
See, like me, I really never like step foot in churches like that for a long time. But when you called me up there, I came straight up there. Knowing it's a church and everything.
Yeah.
There. And according to who it is and what kind of purpose you trying to have out of life and everything.
Right.
So what message will you give to people who actually want to come to a church, but they don't come because of, the stereotype of some people saying churches are judgmental.
Right.
So the people in the congregation will be judgmental. So so the people that actually want to go and get the word and actually go to the house, to the kingdom and get the word, but they're stepping away because of the judgmental people that are in there. Like, what would you tell them?
I would tell you, don't let nothing keep you from getting Jesus. I've had to go through some things and walk through some stuff and sit through some stuff just to get to him. And so I understand that religious spirit. I understand that looking at your clothes from head to toe when you walk in. I understand all that because I've experienced that. And I also experienced the fact that I was standing on a corner and they get out of church with their big old hats on and ride by me and stir their nose up when all I needed to hear was Jesus loves you, because I'm looking for love. And so if Jesus is the one who loved me, introduce me to him.
Right.
But instead they judged me without even knowing who I was or what I possessed on the inside. And so I would say Tabernacle, you can come around me, because for one, we come from the streets. It's nothing nobody in there ain't done that somebody else ain't done that. We have no right to judge anybody. Even when I watch out and I be like, damn, before look at them, they show that they true. And I watch out and I've never been judgmental toward this. That's why I brought y'all on the podcast to let y'all know, listen, I love y'all. And I'm gonna celebrate you and do your thing. You don't know where it can take you, because this is a gift, something that God gave you to be able to, and it's a place where you can express yourself.
You got a comment where Commissioner Quinn says she love you, and Christopher Columbus said he love you. He missed your oxtails.
I love y'all too. Come and get them Thursday through Sunday.
That'd be good.
All right, go ahead.
So when you came home from your situation, and you was actually kind of straying back away from your religious purpose, why was you so dead set on running from it when you already had the confirmation that you needed before you came home? Like, was it easier for your environment to stray you away from it, or?
Well, I was pretty rooted and grounded before I came home, because those years I was shut in with God. So I already had kingdom language. I already was pretty much rooted in. But when you come home to a family, and you come home to a surrounding that nobody is churched, and you didn't come from church, and you don't know about church, you don't know where to go. You know what I'm saying? So it was similar like that. And then even me trying to just be with God on my own, it don't work like that. You have to fellowship. You have to be within a church. You have to have a covering. You need all these things, because you got to have somebody that can catch you in the spirit when you can't fight for yourself. And I didn't have that. I came home and I didn't have none of that, because what the covering that I had was in prison.
Right.
Because God put 4 women around me that was powerful. They used to be heroin addicts, but when I tell you powerful, I could have an experience with the enemy that night, and I come out and sit in the day room, and in the day room, and they'll say, such and such happened last night, and such and such. I never forget when I first got saved. I'm still cussing. Come on, I'm days in. So when the enemy came at me, I started cussing him out. I don't know to say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Right. And so I come out there on it, and he kept saying, I was sitting up, I was reading the Bible from the crack in the window, and and my roommate was up under me.
Right.
So I'm reading the Bible through this little crack of the light in the window, and I heard him say something. Say, "Come to the window." Come to the window. I said, "Okay, God." This you tell me. He said, "Come to the window." I said, "Man, I don't know no word. I don't know that, you know." And so I opened the Bible up, and it stood off the page, and it was like, "If it is of confusion, it's not of me." And I said, "Okay, God, this not you, this the devil." Well, I ain't never been scared of nothing. I walk streets 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I ain't care about that.
Right.
So I said, "Oh, so is you. I ain't scared of you." So I started cussing him out. Cause I don't know no better.
Right.
So I'm cussing out. So I come out in the next morning. I'm sitting out there. They come. They sit around me and they say, "How you doing, babe?" I said, "I'm doing fine." They said, "Well, listen, we want to talk to you." Say, if you know, when the enemy come at you, you gotta rebuke him in the name of Jesus. That's the only thing gonna make him flee. Cussing and won't do a thing. And I'm like, "How y'all know I was cussing them out?" You know what I'm saying? Myself, but they were prophetic, you know,
Right.
and God put them around me to parent me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and the other one said, "I'm glad you didn't go to that window," because when he said, "Come to the window," he said in a stern. I said, "Oh, that's you." That's when I went off.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, because at the time I had a bad heart and I would have heart attacks. You know, I was going towards this. And he was trying to scare me to death because I had left him. And he was mad. And because I was pretty tough. So he was mad he lost somebody like me. And so she was like, "I'm glad you didn't go to the window because he was gonna try to scare you, you know, scare you real bad." And I was like, "Okay." And then I started learning about how serious this thing is. I started learning about how serious if how serious if you're not with God, then you're with the devil.
Mm-hmm.
And how serious it is, how serious he is about getting your soul, how serious he is about taking your life, because he came to kill, steal, and destroy you. And how dead serious set he is to keep you on purpose, because it's hundreds of people in you that you can reach for God. So he don't want you to do that. So he's gonna fight you in every way he can to keep you from walking in your authentic identity. Because in your authentic identity is your joy, is provision, is your peace. It completes you. It completes you without having to have a person or a thing or a substance. It makes you whole. You understand what I'm saying? It lets you know your value.
Right.
In that sense, yeah.
So when you first started preaching, when you're telling your friends and family and stuff, how did they feel about it?
Well, at first, I don't know. I think it was all right till I got really serious about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know
So
what I'm
that's how
saying?
it was a phase.
Yeah. And and it was twice I would throw my hands up like if this how people live, I don't want in the church, and I don't want to do this.
Right.
This time, I was like, I don't. And which was part of my process. And
Because people try to make you stray away from something that you're passionate about. So they're like, "Oh, come on, man, let's go drinking. We ain't finna do all that."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That type of thing.
How many people have you lost along the way because of your
At the time.
Because of your determination to keep your faith?
Even right now, pretty much everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and honestly, pretty much everybody, except for my church family and the kids. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But
How your kids feel about it when you're like, "You know what, y'all? I'm a Christian. Well, I'm gonna start preaching now and turning my life around."
They was so glad. They was so glad because they was glad because they was used to the stab folks shoot. They was used to the drug selling, the user. They was used to they was you know they was tired of the toxic as well. You know what I mean? You know, and so when they seen the change that it brought, when they seen that the experiences that I had with God, and they seen, okay, this is for real, you know, God for real, because ain't no way, because we know, you know what I'm saying? So they knew that, And then, I've had encounters with God. He took me into the garden. He took me 3 parts of the hill. I've had encounters, out of body encounters with God. So that, and they know that, and death has come to my kids 3 times, one twice, and God let me intervene, and they're still here. So they know, and they know when I say something to them, they know it's God, and they know you know what I mean. So they know I'm gonna cover them, but so they were really. And I think even I think my oldest one really kind of helped bring me in, because he was like, I remember one time he told me, and that's when I said, okay, Lord, I threw my hands up. I said, okay, I'm done. He said, I see you. I know what you're doing. And I was like, what? Because nobody else really had the kahunas to confront me. I was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So nobody was finna run up on me and say that, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, and I said, what? He said, I see you, and I know what you're doing. And then he said, but I want my mama back. And he started, and I said, oh, wait a minute.
Now, how old was he at the time?
And he probably was about 14, 13. And it's in that moment, because when my father passed, I grieved for 3 years, thinking he been dead 6 months, and he been dead 3 years. And they watched me go through this process, and I didn't realize until he confronted me that I had lost myself, that I had checked out. You know what I mean?
Now, question about that, and my condolences on your father. Why is it that you feel like, or was it just you blocking your faith from helping you deal with the losing of your father and getting you back on your feet and saying enough is enough? You gotta rise above, and you gotta keep moving.
Right.
So did you just block your faith out, everything that you had learned?
That's a good question, because when my daddy was the only person that knew me and knew my heart. My mom had me, but she didn't know me.
Right.
Nobody else.
You think you strayed away from her at the early age? Reason what caused your relationship to be?
No, me and my mom have always been cool. She just kind of, at one point in her life, she just didn't want to do. She couldn't do us. She just couldn't do us. And
That's
I
what I'm
understand
saying.
that
Like, you
now.
think you strayed away, like she trying to teach you the right stuff, but you didn't want to hear it straight
No,
away.
not like that.
Okay.
She didn't get a chance to try to. It kind of dissolved after 10 years old, because my mom and dad separated. We went from being girls with like little princesses and living out on Don Bridge Road and not wanting for nothing. My dad had 3 businesses. We had a little store in the yard. My mama worked 2 jobs. I mean, we didn't want for nothing, So we went from that, from when my daddy not want nobody speaking proper English or cuss around us. Although mama would cuss you out, but and no men around us till me being thrown to Southside. In a hood, among people.
And you had to survive.
Yeah, and I had to learn the hard way, and most of the way was through abuse, because I'm thinking, well, them people looking at me like my daddy look at me, but no, these people looking at you like you wrong.
So abuse became your love language.
And well, I ain't gonna say it became my love language, but I can say that I say this, from being verbally and physically abused as a kid, and then after I got pregnant and not even knowing, because I was climbing trees, I was a tomboy, I fought boys, I ain't want no boy, I ain't know nothing about, I was in a little gang called the Bomb Squad. I mean, I ain't want no boy. So, Bomb Squad, that's the name of the gang. I told the Tim, that's the name of the gang, Bomb Squad. We was at Southwood School, and and because I didn't have a family anymore, I just wanted to be a part of something. So I got in the gang with them, and then he became my boyfriend. Well, I don't know nothing about a boyfriend, and the first time I ever done something, I ended up pregnant. Well, I'm on the merry-go-round, swinging on the merry-go-round, and I started throwing up. Come on now. So here I am, I'm 13 and I'm pregnant. And I don't got a clue. But I remember saying this. I knew how much I love my mom, and I knew how much I loved my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, if I had a baby, I have somebody to love me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got pregnant, I was like, well, at least I got somebody to love me. But I got a 13-year-old mindset, so I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
This comes with a major responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, not only you homeless and don't have nowhere to go. Now you finna be
With a baby.
same with a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really challenging. So after I got a job at a little store up the street, to just any money would help us.
Where you
Pampers
working
or
at?
something. It was called Ed's Groceries. It was a little ticket store right across from Johnson Funeral Home.
Okay.
And he locked me in the store one day and raped me.
Mm-hmm.
Then he sent me up the street to his other ticket friend to pick up tickets, and he raped me. And
Oh.
within 4 months,
Mm-hmm.
I was raped twice at gunpoint, and then I had to change my identity because I had to adapt to my surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, I'm not going through this no more. The next person that tried me, I'm gonna take them out.
Right.
So now I got to bury this Sandra
Mm-hmm.
and evict this one.
So was
Because
you
I
still
want
pregnant at the time, or you had?
I had Tony.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
I was going to get you some fruit.
I had Tony, and then after the rape started after Sharon.
Okay.
2 of them was after Sharon. Yeah, they was all after Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
And so mind you, now I'm a mother. Now I got 2. I don't know what to really do with this, but all I know is to keep us together. Don't let nobody hurt them,
Mm-hmm.
and do them like they done me, and try to provide for them. But I'm not old enough to work, so I just got to try to make do. I was getting an allotment check for my father, a Social Security check, he was so old.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a check for him that helped, and I took my older sister in, and I had to also see about her as well, because she was green and I didn't want them to do it like they did, like the streets did me.
Right.
And then and so mind you, while I'm doing this, and I'm doing it by myself, and while I'm doing this by myself, I'm still dealing with the separation and the divorce of I've lost my family.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then on top of that, I'm dealing with the fact I ain't been raped once. I've been raped 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just started to turn into fester and turn into anger, bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started to be this, I had to make this person to keep people away. And that's how I started. Yeah, that's how it started. So my kids see me do at the drop of down, Mama, she said such and such, boom, I'm on you. So my kids see me
Right.
do,
Mm-hmm.
and so when they start seeing the transformation of me being sad, because my kids didn't know that I was getting high to bear it, to deal with the pain of everything
Right.
I was dealing with. They didn't understand that even though I was a little girl that had to be grown, that didn't even get to be a teenager, because now I got to be a woman,
Mm-hmm.
but still inside a little girl.
Right.
Yeah, still a kid in the mind.
Still a
yeah.
kid. I'm still a little girl. And so it was something to really deal with. So that's why I can deal with young girls that listen to a boy, and we're gonna be a family, and we're gonna do this, and then they end up pregnant, then they have 2 kids, and then they end by the time they wake up, they're like, I'm trapped, and I got these kids with these different personalities, and I don't know who I am, and I don't know what to do. And those are the situations that we get in because we be looking for love when love is God.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get to know, you got to love you and get to know you before you can love anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even with kids.
Right.
You can't love a child like you need to, and you still hurt, and you still dealing with bitterness,
Mm-hmm.
and you still dealing with heartbreak from your baby daddies and all kind of stuff. All that's there. And that's a lot going on with a person. And a lot of times you see young, I see past them because I can see them in the spirit, but I look at them and I can see they smile there and inside.
They be hurting.
It hurt. And I said, Lord, we got to find a way to help them. You know? So I got some programs set up that can really help some of these young single mothers because if you got a broken mother, you got broken children. Yeah. You know, so, you know, and even now I'm still dealing with situations that happened when I was raising my kids with my kids because, you know, I got, you know, I don't care how long it takes. My kids 40 in their 40s, but every now and then every now and then you got to deal with something that they felt like that happened when they was young that you probably don't even remember, don't know about because you're going through your own stuff. You're like, what? Huh? And they're like, well, this right here, and this really bothered me. Okay, you know. So it's times I would say, is it something that y'all want to say? I'm sorry for it, if I ever dropped the ball or whatever. And it's times, but I don't care what happened. I got my kids. Right. You know what I mean? I don't care what situation happened. Even as a kid, I'm getting my kids. You know, and so, you know, and then I kind of felt like, well, Lord, should I have kept them? You know, but my job was, I was just trying to protect them so they wouldn't go through what I went through. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question. How many grandkids you got?
30. 30. You done hit that twice. 30 of them. I love my boys. So I got 30 of them.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
But you know, the perks of having them is the perks of having the 30 grandkids and me being, you know, one person is my kids make it really easy for me because they take care of their children.
That's good.
I don't have to do nothing unless I want to, or they come to me for something. And it's very seldom. They come to the mall, they come, that's what you doing, so what, need some money or something. They go, oh yeah, grandma, you and I give something, but or this is a carnival, a fair or something. They don't even, you know what I mean? They don't, so I don't, you know, I don't have to catch the back end of that because my kids didn't have a father. And they know how to feel. And I think that kind of made them be a little better. You know what I mean?
I think some men it do, some men it don't.
Right.
Some men it
but
don't.
I think, you know, but I know it kind of, I think it, you know, you know, especially with, and I'm not saying one's no better than the other, but, you know, Tony got the most. And to watch him juggle them kids like he do, I'd be like.
But how you know that didn't come from you?
What?
Their ability and their determination to raise their kids.
Well, I say this. I know it did because in life, what people don't understand is you don't succeed off your successes. You succeed from your failures because those are the things they teach you and build character. So if we had not suffered the way we have, because we had to move all the time because I either got to pay rent, pay lights and water. I got to pay rent, lights and water. And we struggled. And God sent me a destiny helper here in Counties. And
long live him.
Long, that's right, Henry County. He took care of us. He helped us. He bought this shit.
Henry.
Oh, Henry was precious. There wasn't nothing like Henry. And he was godly. He was the only man.
Raul, what's up, bro? Look who we got on the show.
Where he at? I miss you. I wish you was here.
He just tapped in.
Oh, and he was the only man that never tried to be with me, that never wanted anything. He never had ulterior motive for helping me or my children. He just, he prayed for me till I gave my life to the Lord. Because I didn't have nobody in my family to do that. But God sent him. And he prayed for me until, and I would come in outside, I go in his house, because they done took out my knife. So I go in his house and get a knife, go back outside and cut somebody up. He's like, I said, I'm going. He said, where you going? So I said, I'm going in and cut. So they said, baby, pray about this. Don't do that. And I said, you always tell me I pray about something. I told you what I'm going to do. But I'll never forget God spoke to me. He said, you didn't pay attention to the prayer, but the prayer paid attention to you. And yeah, before he passed, I spoke at his funeral and everything, and I was saved. And I was, and I was a
he was
minister.
proud of you.
Oh yes, because he knew I was cooking for Cocoa Puffs for real.
You kept all 30 of your grandkids at one time?
Every time you see him, though, he got told that shirt in the backseat of the car.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. He kept them too.
I used to take my mama to the store. We get in the car. They be in the back seat on that shit.
Oh, that's all. The baby be with me outside. The road be with me, but he would be with me or he'd be down. But that dog on Tony Shun, they would be his cows now. It was one time they was in the backyard. Y'all gonna laugh. Henry used to catch possums.
Oh, wow.
My God. And they were picking at it, just at it, picking at it. And Henry's, well, bang, let the latch up, that latch start. That possum started chasing me. He shot it before they got to him. That thing. They say, Mom, you should have seen that possum. And he would say, y'all won't pick at him no more. Because when he pinned them, they'll pick at him. My kids were something serious, y'all. But anyway, it was so funny. But I'm gonna say this. No matter what you go through in life, God spoke this to me. He said, you rather fail moving forward than fail standing still. And a lot of people are standing still because they're scared. They're scared of themselves. They're scared to try. They're scared they're going to fail. They're scared this don't happen. But the truth is, if the inner part of you is telling you to do something, it's God speaking to you. Mm-hmm. And if you would just take one step, he'll do the rest.
So what made you invest into a restaurant business? How'd that come about? And how long you been doing that now?
I did it 10 years out my car.
Okay.
And I've been 5 years at the restaurant. Mm-hmm. This Black Friday made 5 years.
You been 5 years already?
Mm-hmm. This Black Friday made 5.
Mm-hmm. It seems like it's been longer than that.
Mm-hmm. It's 5. And God gonna give you. God gonna create a way to give your seed back. Right. He's not gonna let you outgive him. Mm-hmm. You know, you always just blessing doing stuff with people and people I don't know about it. Mm-hmm. You might buy somebody else. You see some. It's like one day you got me some shades. You got me some reading glasses at the mall, remember?
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
I was at the mall, I was getting all the reading glasses. You said, get them, I got them. You bought me the reading glasses. I mean, just stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And God gonna give you a vineyard big enough to where he can bless you back. Mm-hmm. So I was feeding the homeless at my house. I've been feeding the homeless since '99. So I was feeding the homeless at my house.
It's been a long time.
On Sundays. Yeah. And the line could be long and long, so I went and got more food. I'm starting out stupid now. And I said, well, this line getting long, I better. And even some of the homeless people go to Ames and bring me their stuff so I could be on. They didn't want me to stop cooking feed.
Right.
And so
what made you go to the mall out of all places?
Okay, I'm telling you.
What was the lemonade? So
I had to drop some plates off on Orr Street. And when I pulled up, it was like they balling, you know, because they got cold, they doing their thing, you know. Mm-hmm. And I said, God, I know that what the devil give you, he gonna take it back, and I know what you give us, we're gonna keep it. I said, but it look like, if you look in the natural, I look like they prosper. Mm-hmm. But the devil either gonna take it back and put them in jail or try to kill them. And so that's the part I play where I come walk those areas and pray and stuff. And so I pull up out there and I'm looking and I'm like, I say, God, I'm a faithful tithe. I live right. Okay, I sow seeds. What am I missing? And he said, Sandra, you got a restaurant in the mall. I said, restaurant in the mall. I started laughing. He said, you laugh like Sarah did. I said, okay, God, I'm sorry. I repent. So about 5 days later, one woman comes to the house. She wanted to buy some chitlins. She comes to the house. I got some chitlins. And she said, I got a proposition for you. I said, what? She said, a restaurant in the mall.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, I ain't doing it. It's going to take me from ministry. I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned down, my kids, two of my kids was like, what's getting this started? I said, no, I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not going to let it take me from what I'm doing, my assignment for God. So, and the Lord's plain as day, he said, do it, Sandra, no blessing. And I said, oh, God. I said, nah, go in the mall. What about the business? But what about everything? You want me to go in the mall? I said, okay, if you want me to go, then in 2 weeks by Black Friday, I'll have everything I need. You'll be done, give me everything I need to go in there. And he did. And he walked me in there.
And you've been there for a long time.
And everybody said, the last people that had it didn't work. Listen, don't go in that mall. Mom, I'm telling you. I said, listen.
You and them Chinese folks been up forever.
Boy, they've been there for a long time.
What? So I told him, I said, real I'm just a steward of it.
Mm-hmm.
It belongs to God.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in the earth and everything in it belongs to him.
Right.
I don't own anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a steward. And so,
Why you bring us no plate anyway? Not to cut you off.
You should have told me I would have brought some.
I know, right?
I would have brought it out of the I'm so oxtail probably. I would have brought it out for him. But yeah, so that's how I got in the mall.
Okay.
He prophetically walked me into the mall. And this might make no sense to y'all, but it will make some sense.
Mm-hmm.
I would see this beaver. This beaver would come out on the side of the road when I be doing my plays. I'm talking about at the same place. For over 2 weeks, the beaver would just come out. And I see it. And God told me back in 2008,
Mm-hmm.
the birds, the trees, everything would teach me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay. And so, first 2 times I see the beaver, I said, this is strange, but I know you're saying something to me. So, the last time I seen him, I said, okay, God, what is it? And beavers mean to build.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He's increasing your territory.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting ready to take you somewhere. And I said, okay, you're getting ready to take me somewhere. My life, everything in my life will change. And he ministers to me through animals, through things, colors, all kind of stuff. And then that's when he walked me into the mall. And then somebody called me and told me, said, the Lord wants you to move out, come out the mall and get your restaurant and put your restaurant in the hood. And I said, that wouldn't make sense. So but and it grieved my spirit. I was like, God. And so I was going home and there was a beaver on the side of the road dead.
Mm.
And I said, Lord, that beaver dead. That's crazy. I said, God, you talking to me, so I went on. About 4 or 5 days later, I pulled up in front of the restaurant. And it was a beaver. He was like this big. He was so big, he was struggling, trying to get back over, trying to get over in the grass and hide. And I said, look, get that beaver. I said, he huge. You can't hardly make it. And the Lord said, he said, yeah, but that word that they said to you, he said, that dead beaver I was showing you is what will happen. But if you keep going the way I got you going, you're going to be like that beaver. I said, okay.
That makes sense. I understand the story. Yeah, the mall location was a perfect location, but then I got to thinking, like, nothing in the mall really lasts too long.
Yeah.
You got a few stores in the mall that do, but even with us, like now, with a lot of things closing down, how is business now?
It's still fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because my situation is not natural.
Mm-hmm.
I walk by faith, not by sight.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm a citizen of the kingdom of God, everything in earth has to accommodate me. Because I seek it first, the kingdom and God's righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say, God, put somebody on my mind and heart today your business.
Mm-hmm.
And people are walking and say, I was going to such and such, but something just told me to come up here.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it be God.
Mm-hmm.
Because the restaurant is not what takes care of me. God takes care of me. That's my seed money. That's just money for me to sow.
Right.
That's my way to give.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that that's not, everybody say, oh, you got a business. No, I steward a business. But, just like the church, I didn't shed my blood for no church. Jesus died for a church. I'm just a steward over that ministry because because he predestined me to do this before I was born. It's my assignment because we all passing through here. And so we all have something we got to do in this earth. And so when I get before him, I don't want to get before him, and then I say, and then he say, you cast out demons. I cast out demons in your name and heal the sick and lay hands on the sick and they recover. And you know, I've seen blind eyes open, deaf ears open. I'm talking about God has really allowed me to be able to operate and see his miracles. But I don't want to get before God and my heart is in a business or my heart is in ministry. Right. And my heart's not with him. I want him to say, well done, good and faithful servant, because you finished your assignment. You reached who I wanted you to reach. Right. You helped who I wanted you to help. You know, I did what I'm supposed to do.
So we know ministry is your calling.
Yeah.
What is your passion? People. Never heard that answer before.
People are not.
Why people?
Because I used to be one of them hurting people. So street people are my passion.
Okay.
Because I was thrown into the streets. And so the inner city is my passion. And not just the inner city, you know, people period. But the inner city is a big part of my passion. Because while I was sitting there, while I was abandoned, while I was going through all the things I went through, inside of me was apostle. Because God finishes before he starts. So what he created you to be is in you, whether you know it or not, or whether you operate out of it or find out about it or not. And so if I can get to them so God can unlock by the Holy Spirit what's in them, they can come into their true potential. Right. And then they can master life. They won't just exist, but they'll live. They'll understand what living is. Stress-free living. I ain't got to worry about nothing. I ain't got to get up and try to think, I cast my cares on God, and he got to take care of me because I belong to him. And that's it. He take care of the birds, the grass. I mean, it's just how they go. But a lot of people don't understand kingdom, so they do church, and here they go. Yeah, when I get to heaven. Yeah, I'll be glad when God come back. Don't you know it's our responsibility to bring heaven into the earth? So why are you trying to leave when you're supposed to bring it here? So why are you trying to go and leave the other folk behind? No, let them go. Or let them get free, or let them get delivered, or let them find out their purpose. So I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? It's a difference. It's a difference. It's so much in you that you don't know about. Well, it's okay. Say you got I'm old. I started saying BCO. I ain't gonna say it. She's real old. She's real old. You know what BCO? Remember we had BCO? Yeah. You know when you had the BCO, you had to read the instructions. But you know we didn't know nothing but play and cut off. We don't read instructions. Y'all know we don't. We just try to figure it out, put things together. Be like, okay, out, rewind, forward, play, and pause. That's all we know. But the VCR can do so many more things if we'd read the instructions. Okay, so Jesus is your instruction man because he created you in his own image and his own likeness for his own good pleasure. Not for him to have you and just to worship him or him to no, so you can have life and have life more abundant. So you won't be in poverty. So you won't be in worry. So you won't be a slave to nothing. Drugs. You won't be a slave to anything. You be your own person in him. You understand what I'm saying? And so, so if I need to know about me, I got to find out about him. Because the more I learn about God, the more it unlocks what's in me. And the more I learn about me. So once you start to learn about yourself, you quit going to the trash can and picking stuff out the trash can. You quit letting people come in your life that don't qualify. You set boundaries. You can see who's for you and who really ain't.
Not for the baby. Not a funny base.
For me, right now.
For sure. So
Never mind, don't worry about it.
That one stuck too. Let me see that right quick.
I gotta get me one. I gotta push me one now.
So let's talk about your programs you got.
Okay.
What kind of programs do I'm gonna go ahead and say it? That you got for the lost souls?
Okay. Second Chance Street Ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Where we feed the Catholic people in the addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not only just for people in addiction, but it's for any type.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a food addiction. You can have any kind of type of
I used to
addiction.
have that addiction.
Me too.
You
Me too. I did.
I think I got a sugar addiction.
All you can.
You
You can
like
have
the
that
sweets and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Candy, all that candy you be eating.
Right.
Mhm.
So you know do y'all do counseling? Or,
Yeah,
you know.
I count.
Mm-hmm.
I count. Yeah, I count.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm glad you're here, because it would have made me take a shot.
Wait right here.
Cause you feel I looked at you like.
That made me take a shot. Wait.
But
You got your shot right there. You're looking at it.
exactly. Take a shot of your
Yeah, you're
lemonade.
looking at it.
So you said you do counseling.
Yeah, I do counseling by the leading of the Holy Ghost, I teach people purpose.
Mm-hmm.
We help them learn
Learn their purpose.
who they, what they're supposed to be doing, and most of the time. But you got 4 strings of avenue of finances that come out of you that bring you into prosperity. You just gotta find out what it is inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I said I can't do that restaurant. How am I gonna do this? The business part, how am I run this store? And I run that restaurant really by myself with little help.
Mm-hmm.
Since I've been there, and I have some real busy days. And
So how's business going right now?
it's going to
Start, like with the year starting off. A lot of people been coming through.
Yeah. Now, after Christmas, you have that little 2 weeks that people be done spend out, and they kind of you see a little bit, but now it's back on track. But I'm not connected to the world system anymore. So.
What would you say your top seller is?
Oxtails and chitlins. And
You eat
let me
chitlins?
see.
You eat chitlins?
Love chitlins.
You eat them?
Well, I have, but I don't really care for it. I kind of try to do better now with eating.
When you cooking, you know, you have things that you used to eat all the time when you know, before you actually be involved with cooking. And then once you start cooking, it be things that you just be like.
No, right. Because I don't, I make real good for the cheesesteaks. Now they taking off. I make
cheesesteaks.
I make homemade burgers and patty meals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I make homemade burgers. They're taking off.
Ain't no hamburger.
Just about everything. I sell everything.
Ain't no red meat in over a year. I'm gonna eat a burger sooner or later though.
Yeah, but see, that's something I'm getting away from.
Mm.
And I don't know how many steaks back there. Every now and then I do a ribeye or something, you know, but I'm getting away from all this because it's hard. I have a hard time digesting it. So I'm doing better with it. But when you cook, I come in around 7 to start cooking and have all that food out by 11. And so I'm cooking turkey wings, jerk chicken, lemon pepper, barbecue. I'm cooking oxtails, and then I got chitlins. I got collards, pinto, black eyes, baked beans, green beans, potato salad, fried cabbage, macaroni, homemade dressing. I'm cooking all this stuff, and on top of that, all through the day, I'm cooking if they want burgers. I got 16 varieties of wings, chicken strips, all this stuff. So when you cook and do that all day, you don't want no food.
Right.
When you get hungry when you get out, but by the time I get out and take a bath, bumpy, get me a bag of popcorn. I'm tired.
Somebody want to know where Jenna Martin want to know where you located at.
In Amsterdam Mall.
Let them know the name of it, for the people to know the name of it.
Mom's home cooking.
And Christopher, I was doing it for the chitlins. I eat oxtails, but the chitlins,
She loves oxtails.
That thing's nasty now.
Chitlins ain't nasty. I just don't eat them no more.
It ain't nasty. I like them too, but I just don't eat them. I don't eat them like that. Like my mama taught me how to clean them. She just a speck on them, they ain't clean. So I make sure they white. And like if I cook them, I'm like, okay, they're good. But I don't,
eat them.
yeah. I mean, and now I don't even have to taste most stuff because
Yeah,
I got a rhythm too. I know what it tastes like.
I want to get to that point in my life where I can eyeball.
Like, yeah.
You ain't gonna never get that.
I will.
You will. You will.
You will.
You'll get there.
Listen, I'm there on some stuff. I'm there on some stuff.
You will.
Well, lemonade.
I don't have to eyeball my lemonade.
I got some good lemonade. The lemonade is good, huh? That's good lemonade.
Yeah, I just don't think chillin' nasty though, like fried up or boiled chillin'. I like both of them.
You know what? People telling me to fry them. I've never fried them.
They good.
So I'm
eat
gonna
them, but
get
they
ready to
good.
fry some. They say fry with cornmeal. So they really
Yeah, my mama used to fry them all the time. They were good.
I'm gonna get some and fry them.
If I still ate pork, I eat them though.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
so I think.
never.
Marvin said he ain't had a good. I was telling the man, go pull up over there,
I
Marvin.
never had
See, Marvin get them good.
If you like steak, you love oxtails.
Yeah, Marvin get a good. Now he from New York, so he got a good oxtails up there. But we got them down south too, though.
Somebody wants some pig feet.
Oh yeah, I stopped doing pig feet. When I first started, I did them, so I was like, nah, I ain't doing more.
That's real.
But I mean, I love pig
Pig
feet.
feet good though.
I ain't no pig feet. So
Pork like the best taste. I don't eat it though.
I can't.
I want me a good pork chop.
The only reason I don't eat it
Oh, I
because
got some good
gout.
seasoned pork chop, baby. Oh, wait. I got a child don't eat pork. She one of my members. When she cooked this, she say, I'm supposed to do this. Fry me 2 pork chops.
Them pork chops is good now. They pork chops sound
My
different.
pork chop good now.
With a bone in.
Yeah, that's the one I got bone. I got some without bone, but them the ones I feed
pork
when
chop.
I do homes.
You used to?
No
That's how you
pork.
used to eat it.
You ain't never ate it?
Yeah, I done
Okay.
You ain't like a pork chop sandwich?
Did you like it when you used to eat it?
Different.
I can't remember.
You was young.
It was so long, man. I ain't no pork chop.
I had a pork chop sandwich year before that.
Well, I
It was
tell
real.
you what, though. I tell you what, though, you can't. You never pork chop sandwich when?
I'm about 2 years ago. It was
But
good.
when you don't do pork for a long time, it's not good to do it because it make you sick.
Matter of fact, I did. I ate
Don't make me sick.
I ate a pork chop.
Wow.
My uncle, I didn't know what the hell it was.
For real?
I thought it was chicken nuggets. They was like
Hey, chopped pork.
You chopped it up.
Yeah, they was,
They tricked it.
It was good too. Wasn't it?
yeah, but
Hey, look at you. You had to say that again, yeah.
the next day I felt it though, like,
What it feel like?
man, I was sick.
I told you, we'll make you sick.
Last time I ate, I got gout. That's why I don't eat it. So you give me gout, pork and beef, dude. That's why I don't eat it. I'm eating a hamburger this
seafood
year.
real too.
Seafood don't bother
It
me.
don't do
Really?
nothing.
But most people get seafood.
Never floundered.
Yeah.
Pork?
I got some good flounder. You love my fish.
I don't
got
eat
good
it
fish,
though.
too.
That's like I haven't ate. You know how many times I ate pork and beef? I don't eat nothing but chicken and fish.
I like that.
So let me ask y'all a question. Can I ask y'all a question?
Go ahead.
I've really been faithful with this. Well, you already know what's going on. We've already talked about that. So, what is your highest expectation of what you're doing, and what's your biggest fear of what you're doing?
I don't got no fear of it. Only fear, what I do got a fear of is failing people. Because I really want to see people succeed, especially people that's trying to really do something with themselves. Don't nobody else give them a shot. If don't nobody else give you a shot, I'm going to give you a shot to do something.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest fear, for them to fail. And like, if they don't get no support and stuff, it kind of pisses me off if they don't get no support. Because they actually be out there trying to do something. And the people that don't really try something, they'll gravitate toward the people that got a little emotion, a little popular, and leave the underdogs hanging. I always rock with the underdogs.
Well, you know, that's good. Because that's me. I love the underdog. I always been like that.
I gravitate.
Because those be the treasures.
Yeah.
Those ones that you look over, those be the real hidden treasures.
Yeah, I gravitate toward the underdogs, but people that's already got motion, I consider them as like a partnership, not competition. A partnership. I don't compete with nobody. So they're like a partnership. So I don't do nothing with them. I let them do their thing and I do my thing.
Okay.
That's how I go. That's how I do it.
But I want to ask you this: when do you ever think about when you get to where you're going? Because it could be in a short while. This is the question I want to ask you because this means a lot. When you get to where you're going, will you stay in the position that you are now? Will you stay humble? Will you stay where you're at right now, regardless of regardless of where it takes you?
I'm gonna still be the same person. I'm just gonna cut some of the favors off.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, now every time.
I won't stay in my same position, my same area. I wouldn't.
Okay,
I would eventually have to move on.
that's right.
To go back to your question about the expectations and the fear. My fear is failing and disappointing the people that have faith in me, because I believe believing in somebody and having faith in somebody is two different
It
things.
sure is, baby.
So my fear is failing and disappointing those who have faith in me, and my expectations is to not fail them.
Okay. Well, first thing you got to do is not worry about feeling them, but making sure you don't feel within yourself.
So that's the trick with the whole thing.
Yeah,
They don't want me to fail myself.
right.
So in order for me to not fail them, I can't fail myself.
And you can't feel yourself
I can't.
anyway.
Mm-mm.
It's not possible.
Like
No.
besides this, we got some stuff in
Because
got
once
stuff
you
in the
know
making.
you can't
You know.
feel yourself.
we got some stuff in the making, but I'd rather not say it
No,
until it's done now.
right. That's right. Now. That's right. But I know how things go, and I know. So I'm just saying. I think we should all have. I think you should always have somebody in your life that can bring you back to your balance. That no matter where you go in life, no matter what's going on, I always have somebody in my life that can straight up speak to me and be like, "Hey, your spirit ain't right. Hey, maybe you need to. Hey, come on, listen."
But what about the people that don't have that? Because you have some people out here in the world that don't have that person that they can go to and be like, you slipping, focus. So to those people that don't have that, what do they do?
What kind of advice would you get them? In other words,
get your spiritual covering and have a prayer life, because have a relationship with God. Talk to him, and he'll talk right back to you.
Some people don't know how.
Yeah. Well, praying is just talking. He created you. You ain't gonna surprise him. He already know. You know what, God, today so-and-so did so-and-so, and I wanted to hit them in the mouth. They really made me mad. But, hey, I thank you, Holy Spirit. You helped me keep it together. But, God, I really, really wanted to show out. He already know. Yeah. For one thing, you got to be, listen, always be true to yourself. And being true to God is being true to yourself. He already know how you feel anyway. He created you. He already done mapped everything out. He already know how things gonna go. So when you go to him, you need to go to him. Look, do you know how many grown men is hurting? The little boy in them is still hurt, so they can't be men because they try to be, but it's the stuff that's inside, and every now and then it comes out, and it always comes out around the people that they care about the most, because that's who they're around the most. And they don't mean that intentionally. It's just something there. So you got to get to the root cause of what's hurting you. And we taught our men, don't cry. You don't be no punk. Don't cry, and don't deal with this, and suck it up, and all this. And really, that's a cancer. No, real men do cry, and they express how they feel, and they have a right to do that. So they don't have a heated moment, and then 5 minutes get them 35 years. So because nobody just gets up in the morning and says, "I'm gonna go kill such and such." No, that stuff started from childhood. If somebody hit you, you do this. Your parents train you, teach you this. Then your surroundings embed that in you. Then that's a mental issue. So now you got this mental issue that if you do this, I'm gonna show out. And you got that, and you come from a family of that. That's already a generational curse.
Right.
So that's already a bomb getting ready to go off. So, and now you high, you aggravated about something, especially if it's a girl, and something that happened. And now here we is in a setting, and I'm already upset. And the first one pushes that button, you might go somewhere you can't get back from.
Right.
And then you wake up that morning, what really? What did I give? You know how many? You know how many young men got life because these boys out here in the gang shooting and trying to kill each other because they have no clue. When you get behind that wall, baby, it ain't no joke. I done did time before. It's not, and when I did time, it was way back then. It's way worse now than it was then. So how can I? So the thing of it is, we have to be able to counsel men. We have to, and that's what the church is for. The church is the hospital. If you ain't sick, don't go in there. Because the church is for people that got issues, that got problems. And you come in there and let God heal you and surround yourself around people that will pray for you, that will encourage you, that when you're having a bad moment, say, listen, I really feel like such and such. Okay, listen, baby, but hey, the devil is a lie. Let's pray right now. It's gonna be all right. And encourage you and get you back on track.
Right.
And then that gives God, then that gives you, that's an outlet for you, for God to be able to heal you from your inside. Because God do work from the inside out. He don't, you can be dressed up in, I'm gonna tell you something, you can be the baddest chick in Anderson. You can be about you a BBL, all this stuff, whatever. And be the baddest chick in Anderson. I'm not trying to be fun, I'm not showing no shade. I'm just saying, you can be done born with it. It don't matter. But what I'm saying is, but your inside of broken reproach. Your beauty ain't outside. It's how you look in the inside. And you can get a girl, you might think don't look like nothing, but inside, she's beautiful. That makes a world of difference.
That personality.
Yes.
That personality.
That's right. And and they have allowed themselves to be healed. And most, and for yourself, most these days, girls don't get over the last person they've been with. They get under somebody else. So you taking Joe into Johnny, into Ralph, into all these other
Ricky
and all of them, yeah. And then and one thing about it is when you when a woman be with a man, she receives. So his spirit comes in you. So now you balance his stuff, his generational curse, your stuff, Johnny's stuff, Johnny daddy's stuff. That's too much stuff for one person to have to deal with. And then you wonder why you're going through all these different changes. So the only way you're gonna get back, that's why God didn't want you to number one person.
Right.
So you wouldn't have nobody to compete with.
That's
so I wouldn't have to. Yes. Yeah, we supposed to be virgins when we got married. A man ain't never supposed to have to compete with no other man. It's supposed to just been him. But society teaches you, how many body counts. I heard a little girl saying, how many body counts? I said, what are they talking about?
How many people she done been with?
They said, she talking about, I said, oh God, help us.
Obviously, you talking about the soul ties. Yeah, exactly.
Soul ties, yeah, help us. And we, and the reason why the reason why most women allow it and girls allow it, because they believe the last lie that person said to them, or they was either verbally abused by their own parents, or physically abused, or they done been through such a trauma that it took their right to say no. So even when they want to tell a boy no,
they're not gonna tell.
They're not gonna say it
because they think that doing everything that man want them to do is right. So they don't know how to feel for themselves anymore. Right. Because they want to feel that everything is right for him.
That's it.
So they take their voice away.
It takes their voice away. So one of my main things is I want little girls and young teenagers to get their voice back. You have a right to say, no, this was not what I want.
So before we close out, what advice you want to give to the women out there that's struggling with life and everything like going from man to man, and like you were saying, like with soul ties, and what kind of advice would you want to get them? I was trying to get it out. I couldn't think how to say it. I don't want to say I cuss a lot, so I'm trying to figure out how to say it normally.
Cause I'm in my mind when he said it, I'm like, she just gave it to them. But okay.
I know she did, but I'm talking about.
I know what he's talking about. He talking about this is what I'm gonna say. If you need to have time by yourself with God. You need to have years that you date and love on you. You need to have years that you learn and accept and embrace you. Because if you're not happy within about you, you're going to depend on somebody to make you happy that can't make you happy, because happiness resides in you. And the only way you're going to have real, you can be happy. Like happy is when you get a new car and then, you know, you show off, you be on Facebook, you keep it clean for about 2 weeks, then you don't clean no more, you don't care, just a car. And so it's a moment. But joy is something God gives you. It's deep within, that no matter what's going on, it don't break you. It don't fade you, because your happiness is within you, in Him. And so first thing you need to do is have a relationship with God, talk to Him. And the second thing you need to do is to be alone. And most women don't want to be alone, but it's in that alone time
Why
that
you
get
think
delivered.
that? I want to be alone.
Because most, I noticed that. Seem like most women feel like they gotta have somebody. I gotta, you know, I gotta have a man. Or, you know, I gotta have somebody. You know, even to the point that when if there's not a man there, go to the opposite sex. No, I gotta have somebody. And but which is really a sign of insecurity too. But because you've got to be able to be happy with you. I never forget when God started to deal with me about it, because I was like, Lord, why did this happen? Why did that happen? And then He said, when I got free from the last rape, He said, now I've given you your identity back. And I was like, huh? I said, well, you give my identity? He said, yeah, because the last rape, that you wasn't delivered from it. And so you seen yourself out of this situation. And so it damaged me to the point where I hid my true identity and made this false Sandra. Because you're gonna respect me, yeah. And ain't nobody else hurting me. And this is how we're gonna do this thing. And God said, now I need to take that down and get back to the Sandra I created. Because you're safe now with me. I got you. So you can be yourself. You can be who you are. And so the only person that ever knew that Sandra was my father. Nobody else knew that Sandra.
So that's why it was kind of hard for you to bounce back when he passed. Because your faith, you had a lot, it seemed like you had a lot of faith.
Yeah, but getting back to that, let me finish that. When my dad died, I was in prison. And I would write him letters because he was in a nursing home. And mind you, my daddy real old, because my daddy was 60-something when he married my mama. She was 18. So I'm an old man's baby. Okay. But my daddy was the truth as a father. He was the truth. And so it was January 13th, I prayed a prayer coverage over my father and took a picture and sent it to him. And there's something I said, God, give him a year, because I'll be out next year. Let me see my father before he leave here. And so, Lord have mercy, God. And so, when I was working at the Happy Store, I was assistant manager at the Happy Store. My sisters called and said, Dad, I got out of jail. And he said, Dad, and then my dad made a promise to me. He said, I will not leave this earth till you're able to take care of yourself. I was like, you can't make no promise. He said, I will not leave this earth till you ever take care of yourself. I said, okay, Dad. So I was doing good. And so we went to see him, and he started drinking a little bit and kind of talking. I said, oh, he going to bounce back like he always do. And so I got back to work, and my sister come back in there about 15, 20 minutes. I can't remember what she said. I said, yeah, what is it? She said, Daddy died 10 minutes after we left. I said, what? She said, yeah, what we going to do? I said, she said, we'll have to try. I said, you don't want to got a house, and we'll try to. I said, okay, well. So she went and got my daddy things from the nursing home, and it was a box full of letters, because the whole time I'm in jail, I'm writing them. I'm hoping somebody to read it to them. I'm writing. And so I'm sitting on the bed, And I'm mad. And I said, God, I'm mad at you because you took my dad from me. And you know my dad was the only person that really loved me and know my heart, know who I am. And I said, I'm mad. And the Lord, and I was going through the box and I come across the picture. And the Lord said, see, Sandra, you never gave me your father. He always was first in your heart.
Mm.
He said, you asked me for 1 year and I gave you 2 years. And on the picture, it was the same date my daddy died. God gave me exactly 2 years with my father.
Mm.
And that was a crushing all by itself because now I've lost my biological father that know me because nobody else don't. And now, and I neglected my real father that created me before I had a biological father. And so the whole time I'm thinking he's first. And the whole time I had my daddy in a place he shouldn't have been in my heart. And then I just gave up. I was like, well, I felt like, okay, and at that time I felt like, okay, not only have I lost my dad, but I feel that too.
That made sense now. It makes sense now.
So I went through this stage of I'm just gonna I was telling her I'm just gonna do these drugs and then I OD because I already got a bad heart. I had a heart attack, so I just gone out. But God wouldn't let me die. So I got this job at Smead, and one of my dad, family member was out there, and she said, hey, how you doing? You say I'm doing? I said, yeah. I said, yeah, how you doing? She said, Sam been gone, what now, 3 years? I said, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Dad been dead about 6 months. I said, you crazy. She said, baby, your daddy died in, was it 90? She said 91, 92. It was like 94. I had slipped into a place where I didn't even realize the time.
And it was steady going by.
And my kids was watching this and they were just like, and I sometimes be sitting at the table and I never cried about nothing. I ain't no crying person. And they would coming out and I'd be sitting there and that was known to them. It got to be a norm to them to see me cry sometimes because they know that it was about daddy. And so that was a turning point in my life. But that was also when I said, okay, God, okay, whatever you need to do with me, just do it. Because I gotta be whole. I can't do this no more.
Right.
And that's what my son said that to me. That's when Tony said that. And then that's what put me back on track. And I started back doing what I'm supposed to do in God. I came back. Yeah.
And so where do you go from here? You got the restaurant, you got your church going, you got your 30 grandkids.
That's a lot.
Well,
You looking for a husband?
no.
Why not?
Not at all.
Why?
Because I know who I am and I'm gonna say this and I don't want to say it in a way that it'll offend anybody, but because I know what they gotta bring to the table.
What if they come with
they gotta
everything?
be able to catch me in the spirit. They gotta be if they come with everything that God requires them to have, and I require them to have, that's fine. But I will stay focused. Whoever it is a part of my assignment. I won't change my identity.
What if it's a pastor come at you with everything that you're looking for?
If it's what it's supposed to be, that then maybe. But my thing is,
I say by next year you have a husband.
no Lord. Well, I tell you what, that ain't the first thing on my list. I'll tell you that for free.
I'm gonna tell you that for free.
That's for free. That ain't the first thing on the list. I really, my honestly, y'all, my overall focus is not relationship. It's not marriage. That's not my main. My main focus is seeing a change in our community. Seeing
You don't think y'all can build
our
that together
people,
though?
seeing our people leave.
I'm
She's trying to get out of there. That's the thing.
I really don't. The thing about it is this: if it's somebody, I say this, I mean, it's a killer. It's got to be somebody that's gonna come and put the work in I gotta put in, and it's about God and it's about division. I don't need nobody. Hey, you, me, let's get to it, okay. That part. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you another thing too. He got to be able to handle me, and I'm gonna say it like this. I don't want no yes man. Huh? I don't want no yes man. Huh? I don't want no yes man. I want somebody. It's gonna have to be somebody that can help accommodate me where I'm going, and will be able to say, you know what? Yeah, right there, you're right now.
What's wrong with the yes man? I'll just be one like.
A yes man. Oh no.
I'm sorry.
Don't nobody want no. If she lying, if she said that.
Because if you dealing with a yes man, that means that even when I'm wrong, you gonna still say yes to my wrong.
Yeah, and come
I
that like.
I can go
You
do something that I know not right, but I'm gonna do it because you're gonna allow me to do it.
Right.
Because you're not gonna be man enough to be like, sit down.
Right.
No, that's not right. So I'm gonna walk over you. I'm gonna run circles
Right.
around you,
Step
on you,
Tell
cross over you,
there it is.
and everything over
There
you.
it is.
Because you being a yes man, and I don't need that. I need structure. I need guidance.
Thank
I
you,
need
Lord. Right there. I need somebody gonna say, what if I got a shoe fetish and I like to buy shoes. I'm about 4 pairs.
I done took out rent money and go buy shoes.
Okay, you say, hey, them enough shoes. You don't need another pair of shoes. You want somebody that's gonna stand up. You know what I mean? I don't want nobody. I want somebody to say, you know what, that one thing right there in you is gonna hinder where God's taking you. You need to take that to God, and you need to work on it. I want somebody to be able to see me and allow me to grow like I to help other people grow. I don't want nobody to be whatever you say, yes. So scared they're gonna lose you that they just go along with whatever you say. And I want somebody that's gonna grow with me.
Exactly.
That's gonna evolve with me. And so that's the main. Yeah.
Because if you're a strong woman, you need a structure man.
I gotta have a strong structure man.
You gotta have a structure man. Because if that man is not a structure man, it's gonna be a disaster waiting to happen.
I was engaged one time. Well, more than one time anyway. I got women got everything. Whatever. And I said, okay, let me see where it said. So I said, I got dressed, got real cute. I said, you didn't watch the kids, I'll be back later. I said, okay. Want to go? I said, oh, okay. All right. So came back, took a bath, changed clothes. I said, I'll be back tomorrow. I said, I could make probably the most I can. All right. I said, okay. All right. I said, okay, I'm gonna see how far this going. Came back that morning, he fixed me breakfast. 2 days later, I said, well, might have been that night, I can't remember. So I said, well, I'm going out. I'm going out. I'll be back later. I might come at night. Might be tomorrow.
Yeah, that's where you was going.
I'll be hustling, but whatever. It don't matter. Still, I'm waiting on this man to say, no, you ain't going out, and no, you gonna stay here, and you gonna. And okay. I got them. You just go ahead. And I said, so I came back and I said, I ain't getting married. And his mama came to me. She said, I said, no, ma'am. I said, because I don't need that. I said, I got another child in the house. I can't do that. I need somebody gonna tell me no. And he would have said, no, you ain't going out, and no, you ain't going. And why you gonna come in and get dressed, take a bath, and go back out the door like you? What you think you is?
Exactly.
Come on. No, come on. I said, oh no, I can't.
And that don't mean that the man is controlling. That just means that I see what you're doing, and I care enough about you to tell you that you're out of pocket.
Right.
Some women like a man that just run over though.
But some women do.
They ain't gonna go with him though. They're gonna just use him and go with the other man that's doing that for them.
There it is right there. So you want somebody like he would say, listen, you need to build their kids. No, you ain't gonna. I would be like, okay, hey, have to be careful. Maybe he might be a husband material. Because he can take care of us. But hey, but you don't.
But you
You
need
don't
that
sign
demand
no
to go along with it.
Right.
It's not all about the financial perspective.
Right, because I can take care of myself.
Right.
But I I need that structure.
I would like to know you go out talking about you going.
It didn't take a lot.
Right. Exactly.
He young man, he wouldn't go back going well. Leave me what? Yeah.
Because it is not okay. It is never okay to let your woman walk out that door and not say nothing.
Right.
But we will do it if you allow us to do it. Just to see how far you gonna go.
We will. You will take it. You give us an inch, we'll take a mile.
Mm-hmm.
You got it. Me and Spock. Let me say this before we come out here. Adam's responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Adam's responsibility in the garden was to keep the presence of God there. Eve, God didn't give authority to Eve, he gave it to Adam. And and God said, love your wife like Christ loves the church. What is God saying? He didn't say you have to be in love with her. Everybody always in their feelings. Your feelings and emotions will take you somewhere you don't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to fall out of love. But you committed to that relationship. Because marriage is commitment.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what. So Adam's job is to create an atmosphere, a godly atmosphere in the house. And Adam's job is to provide and protect her.
Mm-hmm.
And when Adam does that, whatever he bring to her, she'll multiply. Because a woman multiplies whatever you bring. And so if you bring, we're gonna multiply. If you bring kindness, she gonna bring kindness and sweetness and peace. If you bring drama, she gonna give you the
toxic.
Yeah.
So you got to, and that's ain't it. So the man sets the atmosphere in his home.
Mm-hmm.
A real one anyway.
A real one does. Mm-hmm. Say that for me.
Yeah.
A real one does. A real one does.
I'm glad you okay.
So my last thing saying, I'm gonna go. I'm tired, y'all. I've been going all day, and I'm so thankful y'all. You all right? I'm just so thankful y'all had me, and I love y'all. Y'all know I do. So I want to say to y'all, listen, Anderson, don't pick and choose who you support. Support everybody, because everybody deserves to get some support. And in order to see our kids quit dying out here in these gangs and on these streets, we're going to have to come together and be the solution to the problem.
Not up for debate. All right, so tell them where to find you at.
I'm in Anderson Mall between Books and Mead and JC Penney's Tabernacle House of Prayer, and the restaurant is Mom's Home Cooking. And I got other things coming up, and y'all will be seeing it soon. And I'll be getting them the support, because they'll come out and help me feed, do all kinds of stuff.
So if somebody want to find you, how can they reach you?
They can call the restaurant's number, Mom's Home Cooking, 864-318-2069. And then you can get me there for the restaurant and the church. And if you can't get to me, go on Facebook to Deandra Harrison, and she will. If you go to her, you can get to me. Because a lot of times you can't get to me. I'm working, I'm doing something. But if you go to her, you can always get to me. Or one of the kids. No, my kids don't always tell me. They be so good, they don't tell you that.
Make sure y'all tune in to Mud to Mansion podcast.
And I will be on the 28th with God's Loving Creation.
Okay.
So I'll be doing that, and then I'll be coming on the week after that with Renato Reed. We doing his good clean money business, his sweatsuit business. He just coming home, and I'm gonna have my baby on there. And that's not up for debate. Hey.
And make sure y'all tune in every Wednesday, Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Cold beer, hot liquor, not up for debate.
Thank y'all for having me.
Lemonade.
Lemonade.
Well, you know.
I was, but I already ate something.
He said he was. He pulled out. I want that cheese pop so bad. I gotta eat my breakfast. I eat that fruit though.
The mango.
Strawberry right here cost $9. I mean, look at that.
I can't eat them. I mean, I got gout.
For real?
Too much sugar.
Wow. Oh, they got, have y'all seen them, the white pineapple strawberry? They didn't want this. They white taste like pineapple. I thought it was already off.
We good.
Gotta go through the
Peace. It's over with.
So,
I don't think